So we got these two shows, and I've really been sort of turned upside down by these shows because I thought it'd be the other way around. I thought I would probably enjoy Creature Commandos and not enjoy Skeleton Crew whatsoever. But it's the other way around. I know some people out there are like, I have friends who are like, yo, I really like, Creature Commandos. But to me, it's like, this is just another rehash, man. This is just another Suicide Squad. There was a better way to tell the story, but I guess he wanted to introduce Rick Flag Sr. so bad that he had to create another team of unknown, obscure characters and kind of redo Suicide Squad. It's just a little weird. It's animated. I get it. This one was a little more violent. So let's go right into it. Let's talk about where is it? Creature Commandos episode 3. Okay, so this one kind of picks up where the last one left off, where they all go rushing down there to go save what's her name? The bride and
Nina.
Was it Melina?
Nina is her name.
Nina, the fish lady.
The fish lady.
The fish lady. And so they go down there and they're like, oh, and they bust in. They're like, where are they? You know, like, oh, they're gone. You know, like, what? They're gone. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. We got to go back because they're going to go get the girls. Like, no shit.
Which was so obvious. The most obvious thing that like, this is like grade 1 kindergarten fooling you. Like, let's lure you here and then let's go get the princess or get the queen. I mean, come on.
And then not only that, but you brought the entire team and you brought her guards. You brought their leader with you. So it was like, it didn't make any sense. And on top of that, so it goes back and apparently the Sons of Themyscira are this elite fighting squad because they're fucking up the princess's guards who are heavily armored and just getting fucked up, you know? It was so weird. I was like, okay, so these guys are fucking idiot douchebags with machine guns and grenades, yet these heavily trained guards who are fully armored are just getting fucking mowed down. And that didn't make any sense to me. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. What's going on here? And then on top of that, so they get there, and this show is centered around G.I. Robot. So we get to see the background, the origin story of G.I. Robot.
Part of Easy Company during World War II. Yep.
Part of Easy Company. And then they did mention, what's his face, Sergeant, this... Like part of his group was the guy they're gonna make a movie of. Eventually.
Rock. Was it Sergeant Rock, wasn't it? Is that
I think it was Sergeant Rock. I was gonna say Sergeant Slaughter, but that wasn't it. So they go there and like these guys are walking around, and then he kind of his legs extend like he's fucking Inspector Gadget, and he's fucking shooting Nazis and so when we focus on his backstory, because you see his backstory throughout the episode. But he's killing Nazis. He's fighting for the United States government, and then he's on a talk show where they're showing. Oh no, not a talk show. I'm sorry. They're at like a.
They're at an event where they're trying to like promote like
a keynote event.
Yeah, pretty much. And then that's when like one of the generals was like, yeah, he's not meant for this type of not celebrity, but he's not meant for this type of promoting, right? Because he said, as G.I. Robot starts to scan the audience, he's looking for Nazis. And then the host was saying, well, I'm sure there aren't any Nazis here. And he looks over and, well, that's just exactly what a Nazi would say. And then, it's like, oh, the whole crowd gets quiet. The host is like, oh, am I going to get ready to get killed here? I mean, it was just very it
was just kind of weird. And, kind of remind me of like, RoboCop with the Ed 209. Like, you have 10 seconds to comply. We can't shut it off. But he didn't kill anybody. He just kind of threatened them, and then that was it. I was like, oh, okay. And then he ends up like with the scientist. And then all of a sudden, the next one, it jumps like years ahead.
Yeah.
And I felt that was too big of a gap, but I don't know. And he gets bought by this army memorabilia guy who has a cat, who has like a bunch of cats, and befriends him, which was kind of like, okay. I don't know where we're going with this, but okay. And then he takes him to like his his club hangout and they're all fucking Nazis. It was like, what?
Well, the thing is it makes you wonder how long he was there with them, because when he first found him, turned him on, he's like, oh well, it looked like it was over time. Like he then starts dressing him up and like, oh, it's nice to have a family, and so it was almost as if there was even a time gap there before he brought him to like this quote unquote social club, only for GI Robot to find out, and then when they unveiled the swastika. And then he's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm in a group with a bunch. And then you saw G.I. Rob was like, oh, great, Nazis. Like he knew, like, I'm going to have to do something now.
Yeah.
And then just starts mowing everybody down.
But even then, it's like the guy clearly, like, when he bought GI Robot, it almost felt like he kind of knew who he was, or he was just kind of like, oh wow,
well, you would think he would have known what his mission was. Like,
yeah,
I mean, if they had these GI robots in World War II, and we're obviously not in World War II when he came across this guy that was lonely. You think there would, as big as that guy was into war memorabilia, you think he would have known this is what GI robots are, this is what their protocols are, this is what their mission was. So why would you then bring him to a rally or a meeting like that, knowing that that's what he's supposed to be doing?
It made no sense. It was just kind of like, huh? Nazis? Like what? Okay. Why did you bring him for one? And it just didn't make any sense. And then he killed everybody.
Yep.
Okay, he kills everybody. And then because of that, he gets put on trial. And then he gets put in prison. But it was kind of like, why is he on trial? He's a robot. I don't know. It was just like, and then I was getting flashbacks of like the freaking the Animatrix, when they put the robot on trial. It was just kind of like, what's going on? What are we doing here? I don't know. His backstory wasn't that interesting to me.
And then they put him in prison, and then we go through this huge like time lapse while he's in prison, like the sun behind him. Then you see him like all these spider webs starting to grow around him, and he's starting to rust a bit. I mean, it was.
He just sat there, it was like, okay. He just sat there. Okay. Meanwhile, the rest of the team in current day, they get back to the castle. And as Droga said, the armor that aren't bulletproof throws me off a lot. Yeah, they have this heavily armored suit that's not bulletproof. It's just ripping right through them. Yeah, and they get fucking killed. All these guards, and like they're like they go up to Nina and they're like, here's your helmet, that way you can help us. You get shot in the head. Like, oh okay. I don't know. I don't know. Like, the violence, cool. Like they're getting their heads blown off and shit. Like, hey, that's cool. Like I like seeing that. It just I don't know. It just didn't hit. And then
it didn't.
And then to top it all off, he stands up and he's like, he's killing all these guys, and then he gets blown up, and then he's dead. It's just like, wait. So I went through all that.
The whole episode, the whole story, you're building him up to be like this, almost like a Terminator, practically unstoppable.
And then he dies in one hit.
One hit.
Bam, dead. Everyone's like, oh shit.
I mean, he took out an entire battalion during World War II. We see that happen. Takes out an entire rally of I'm sure they would have been armed. I highly doubt individuals like that would not have been armed in that room. And then to your point, the Inspector Gadget thing happening multiple times was just like, wow, I can't believe this is what I'm watching. And then he starts going through his little, spindle, shooting everyone. And then Rick Flag, everyone get down. Well, no shit. Everyone get down. I don't want to get shot. And then he starts just spinning around. The next thing you know, you're thinking, oh, he's going to take everyone out. They're going to save the day. And then to your point, he explodes.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, are these Nazis? Yes, GI Robot. Those are Nazis. It was just like, okay. And then he kills everybody, and then he gets killed. And then Cersei, she's the one who kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And then as she's fucking everybody up, all of a sudden Weasel shows up and just fucks her up. Like, scratches the fuck out of her face, is gnawing all over her, like, ah. And I was just kind of like, of all the characters,
that's what exactly I was getting ready to say.
Weasel is the one that fucks her up. Like,
So she's got all this power. She's flying around. She can take out GI Robot without GI Robot even knowing that she's there to kill him. And then to your point, somehow Weasel is there to save the day. I
Yeah.
mean, and then she can't fight off Weasel. I mean, she's got, to her, that should be like she's got a kitten scratching at her, pawing at her, and she can't
Yeah.
stop him. That just didn't make any sense either.
It was just so stupid. It was so stupid. It was
and
just
then,
so
and
stupid.
then,
I
and
was
then
like,
he had her. I mean, Weasel had her down long enough for who was it? Dr. Phosphorus to come up and then, burn her face, or suppose. I mean, initially you thought she was gonna die, and then find out she doesn't die. I mean, what are we doing? What are we
so
doing?
stupid. And then she's like, "You've just doomed all of us, huh?" And that's where it ends. Like,
Yeah, that's where it ends.
what the fuck? I don't know. Okay, so some people are fans of this. I'm not.
I'm not.
Gun
Yeah.
inserts was gun inserts was made into the most powerful character. Yeah, it just.
And everything I've read about this today is everyone, those who are, and again, if you like it, hey, I'm happy for you. I'm glad you found something you enjoy. It's just not for me. I mean, when we talked about this last week, I gave the first 2 episodes a 4 out of 10. I mean, I'm at like a 3.5, barely holding on to a 4. This didn't change my opinion of the show, didn't make me like the show anymore, probably a little bit less. And the people I see out there defending it feel that, oh, this is perfect. James Gunn is leaving himself so many different avenues that take the DCU. And I'm thinking, and as I mentioned on the Daily Show this morning with Anthony, is I feel like I feel like I'm in the same position as I was with Acolyte. And I'm not trying to pick up Acolyte to hear me out.
Yeah, to say the Acolyte. I mean,
why did you say that name?
It's meaning I don't see what everyone else is seeing. I don't like the people who loved Acolyte. I didn't understand why they were loving it. I wasn't seeing what they were seeing. And it's the same with this show.
Yeah,
those who
I wasn't seeing it either.
I'm not seeing it what you are seeing as far as why you love the show. And I'm not saying I still can't be swayed, but thus far, this isn't for me.
No, so, I mean, look, if you like the show, you like the show. But so far, it's been very mid. Do I like the violence? Yes, I think the violence is cool. Because I mean, obviously, if you have an animated series that's heavily violent, hey, I'm cool with that. But overall, like the storytelling, the stories in general, like I don't really care. Not much actually happened in the episode other than them going to that other location, the old castle, finding out that their 2 friends are still alive, and then they go rushing back and they end up fighting everybody. Everyone dies, all the bad guys except for Cersei, and then she gets fucked up by Weasel, and then they have her captured. It was just kind of like, okay.
It's falling, and again, I don't understand, and maybe I'm not supposed to understand. I thought maybe as a fan, that was part of something a creator would want me to understand. Is this is what you've decided again, and the message was constantly pushed. This is what's kicking off the DCU. This is what's going to kick off the DCU. And there was so much put behind the show leading up to it. And I feel like now, if this is what you're using to kick off the DCU, I'm concerned about what the rest of your DCU is going to look like. Whether that's live action or animated, doesn't matter. If this is the best you could bring to kick everything off, I'm highly concerned.
Absolutely. And I'm like, look, dude, like this is supposed to be, like you were saying, what kicks off the DCU. But unfortunately, it's coming across as a companion show. Just like, hey, if you catched it or if you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, it's okay.
Yeah.
No loss there. I mean, this would have made sense. Not the story-wise, but the show in general would have made sense if this was a prequel to even Suicide Squad. Or this takes place sometime in the past.
Yeah, because this is happening 2 years after Suicide Squad. Because we confirmed that because Rick Flag Sr. mentioned that was episode 2. He said, "Oh, my son died 2 years ago," or something like that.
Because I know that Frank Grillo is supposed to be in Peacemaker season 2. So I always assumed, and I'm just saying, I always thought that, okay, so this must be a prequel where we meet Rick Flag Sr.,
Yeah.
and maybe he references his son, like, yeah, I got a kid who's only 16 or whatever. So then later on, when you get to Peacemaker season 2, now now that he knows that his son is dead, now he's pissed. He's coming after Peacemaker. I thought, okay, that's what we're getting at. No, we're not.
Yeah.
This is it doesn't make any sense. I don't really understand why we're watching this show, because the characters, I mean, some of them are kind of cool. Like Dr. Phosphorus is kind of cool, but like, I don't care about these characters. If they all died at the end of the show, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. And so it's kind of like, why are we wasting our time with this? Why is this what kicks off your DCU? Yep. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
To your point, and for your and again, I think for your hardcore fans are going to know these characters. The hardcore fans, the ones that are entrenched in the comics, that are entrenched into DC, they're gonna know who Rick Flag Sr. is. Phosphorus. I mean, they're gonna know. I mean, of course, they know Weasel because of the previous film, the Suicide Squad that James Gunn did. Now, before the Suicide Squad was done, how many people do you think knew of that character?
Nobody.
And now all you've done is now created this to say, I'm kicking it off. And we talked about this last week. It feels, I say this a lot, even on my show, when it comes to horror stuff. It feels like all you've done is a rinse and repeat. You took the Suicide Squad, rinsed it. Now we're doing a repeat. We're calling this Task Force M, or whatever they were calling it. And now we're just calling it a different letter, and you have the same person who's overseeing it. And instead of Rick Flag Jr., it's Rick Flag Sr. You have Weasel, and now you just throw a few unknown characters that no one cares about. You haven't given me a reason to care about them, and now you've already killed off probably the only one that many people probably would have enjoyed was G.I. Robot. I mean, and that's saying a lot. that's one that people would enjoy. So, and he's already dead at episode 3, and we still have what 5 more episodes to go on this. So
yeah,
it's just I don't understand the thought process behind this one.
Not only that, but like there's also this big thing coming up, which is probably gonna be the next episode, which is this whole nightmare future, apocalyptic, where the heroes are dead future that I guess Cersei is going to show them later on. And so some people are like, well, wait a minute, if we're getting a nightmare future, why didn't we let Zach finish his? Whole different story. Okay. I know exactly what you're saying, but we can't do anything about that. Now, it's funny that he would have one like that as well. So I have an image here that it was on X. Let me pull this up real quick. That's not it. Where'd it go? Right here. So here's an image I have where it shows you it shows Booster Gold. It was in the far back. Wonder Woman, Damian Wayne, Hawk Girl. I forgot who the other person is.
Is that Superman too? Isn't that Superman in the bottom right corner?
No, that's actually it's Damian Wayne.
Oh, okay. I thought that was I
Superman.
Thought we've seen a picture of Superman like
right.
this.
So. Superman is on one. See how there's 2 more posts, one right next to her crown and one over in the corner.
Okay. Oh,
so
yeah,
there's
yeah.
2 more posts that they're gonna have him, and Superman's is on a cross.
Yeah.
So you have this kind of to me this feels like the Supergirl. Thank you, Shruggers. It's Supergirl. So you have this sort of this apocalyptic nightmare future where all the heroes are dead, and you're wondering how does this happen, right? Like what leads to this? I don't know. We haven't seen the episode yet, but it's funny that he would do something like this. Now, obviously, look, we don't know the full extent of this. This could more or less just be a gag where he shows this, but in reality, this never even happens. Who knows? But I think it's kind of ironic that he would have a scene like this. And this sort of reminds me of the scene or the image that Tony Stark had where all the Avengers were dead, at the, they're all dead or whatever, and Thanos was there, This kind of feels kind of like that, but I don't know the extent of it yet. But it's just kind of like, why are we doing this? I don't understand. And then you got this image here, which is a close-up of Wonder Woman.
It's like the classic look.
And it's the classic look. He went back to the she has the stars on her underwear.
Yeah.
And so again, he went back to the classic look for Wonder Woman, a character that he hasn't even cast yet, a character that, you know, as far as we know, there is no actress attached to the character to either voice or live action. And so it's just kind of interesting that he's going to show Wonder Woman, but the movie itself and the character isn't even relevant to this point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, there really hasn't even been any talks about a live action Wonder Woman film from
Nothing.
DCU. Like literally nothing. I mean, everything's been focused on Superman, Supergirl, the Lantern Show, Peacemaker, and this. Outside of that, any other character hasn't been focused on. Characters hasn't been focused on or discussed. So to your point, what's the point of bringing this up? And unless this is again one of those attempts to bridge, to extend an olive branch, right, to the Snyder fans that want to see that nightmare story completed. But I don't think this helps. I think that all this does is just angers those hardcores even more.
Yeah, it really does, and it doesn't sit well with a lot of people. They're not, you know, they're not really happy with it.
And we know the next episode. I mean, the fact that it's called Chasing Squirrels and tells you right there, and in the brief 45-50 second teaser they've given on it, it seems like this is going to be Weasel's backstory episode. Which do we really need that again? I feel like I've already seen that to an extent.
Yeah, it's like it kind of feels like this. Okay, so and don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with the classic suit. I'm just saying, like, you know, we got a glimpse of the version of Wonder Woman that James Gunn is going to roll with if he ever gets to that point.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, like, at this point, it sort of feels like James Gunn started his DCU with his animated version of a Guardians of the Galaxy, where when Guardians came out, the first one, nobody knew anything about those characters. They were the most obscure team that he could have brought up.
Yeah.
Now everybody loves them. And I think he tried to do that again to some degree. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, Task Force M. I mean, I just
That's
don't
so
care.
corny.
Just don't care about these. I just don't care about the characters.
And this wouldn't surprise me either. The twist is that Weasel's actually innocent. It would not surprise me. Like, the kids got killed by something else, and he's there. They're like, "Oh, it's Weasel."
Well, yeah, because and the only thing that we see is he's in the middle of this building, and the building's on fire, and he's dragging kids like into like the middle where there is no fire, and then you see these police officers shooting at him. So to your point, he could have been trying to save them, you know, pulling them from a fire.
He probably was,
and then he's gotten blamed for it, right?
You can't have a character sticking around this long who killed a bunch of children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be innocent. I think that's pretty obvious at this point, but who knows? Who knows? So Damian Wayne gets to be in the Justice League before Dick Grayson and Tim Drake. I mean, it's probably because I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the scene. If I knew what was happening, they'd give us a better idea of what the fuck we're looking at. But
yeah,
we don't know what's going on in the scene yet. So I'll wait until I see what's going on with that. But this episode in general, it was only 20 minutes. I mean, like, holy shit! It was basically a 20-minute episode. I thought, this is all you can muster up for episode 3. You can't even give me a full half an hour. It's only 20 minutes. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's with me.
Maybe it was Justice League and Titans team up.
Maybe,
Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah, and that's just the thing. Who knows? We have no idea.
And I talked to I talked to Prime, and he liked it. He's like, yeah, I think it has good storytelling. And look, here's the thing: when it comes to like Bride's backstory, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I really love the story with that and all that." To me, that seemed very obvious. With the way the story was told, I was like, okay, so obviously one of these two, she's gonna fall in love with him, with Dr. Frankenstein, or he's gonna fall in love with her. They both fell in love with each other, and then either way, it was like, yeah, so they're gonna get together, and then he's gonna get mad, and he's gonna kill Dr. Frankenstein, and that's exactly what happened. I was like, okay, that was obvious. And then with the whole thing about him chasing her throughout time, it was kind of like, okay, like, I get it, you know, and that's been done before. I mean, shit, you look at the movie Hancock. those they every time they get together, they lose their powers, something happens, and they have to separate. But then they're always drawn back together again. It's a similar concept. I'm just like, okay, I get it. He's constantly chasing her around the world and through time because he wants her, and she's constantly trying to fend him off. It was just kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, and I was one of the ones that said last week that I liked that part, and because that was the only thing I could find that I liked about the 2 episodes, and that even still now, that's the only thing that I've come to like, and that's not saying much. Even after 3 episodes, that's not saying much. Beyond, and that wasn't much of a story. It was a montage, music playing, and we're just seeing them jumping through time, and that was pretty much it. So what does that even say, right? I mean,
yeah.
I keep coming back to the fact that, again, you're telling me this is what's jumping off your universe, and you want me to care about your universe, but this is what you're giving me up front. Do better. Please do better. And what's coming after this? I mean, I don't even recall seeing a date for Peacemaker season 2, but I even know even Peacemaker season 1 was not for a lot of people. A lot of people didn't even watch it, or they did start watching. They're like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm done with this, and completely checked out. So if that's the case, then a lot of people are really just holding hopes on to see what Superman's going to bring. And if that's all we're holding our hopes on to see whether or not people are going to stay vested or even get invested into this universe, Superman better be a banger of a film. I mean, it better be the absolute best DC film that's ever been done, which I don't think it will be.
No,
and again, I don't want, and I want to be clear, I never want anything to fail. And I'm not, and I know we both feel that way. I never want to see anything fail. However, again, you wanted this to kick everything off. It just still doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense. And like, I want to like this show. I want to get behind the show, and like Sean said, like, I wanted to succeed, but so far I've not been into it. I'm not. So again, I'll give it a 4 out of 10 because I thought, some of the violence I thought was pretty cool, but that's really it. So far, I still don't care.
Yeah.
I still don't watch it with any conviction or any care for the characters. They could all die, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna go eat.
I'm gonna go have a bowl of cereal. I don't.
That's it.
I don't,
like,
because I feel like the characters, there's no reason for me to care about them.
Exactly.
I haven't been given a reason to care about them. And again, as quickly as you're bringing them in, you're killing them. Again, you've just taken out one of the, I think, core ones that many people probably would have liked, and now he's dead, which was G.I. Robot. And again, and that's not saying much.
No, it's not, because I just don't care. I still don't care. Even Rick Flag Sr., I don't care. If he died, I'd be like, uh-oh. But I know he's not.
Wouldn't care either.
He's in Superman, so I don't know. We'll see how episode 4 goes next week. Hopefully it's a little bit better, but you never know. Okay, so
we're hoping it's going to be better, but do we really think it's going to be better?
No.
I'm not thinking it's going to be better. To be honest.
I mean, it's obvious that he's going to make the Weasel innocent. But so far, if I had to give this show a drop, this is what it's going to get.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you,
we don't care.
We don't
care. We don't care.